Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in IoT.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce. Hi, I'm John Mine with Petzila. I actually grew up in the Midwest on a farm in Kansas. But growing up, I was always taking radios and old appliances apart, usually not getting them back together. Went to Kansas State undergraduate for engineering, then came out here to Stanford for an MSEE. So I'm really a technical person at heart, and I love gadgets, so IoT is a perfect place for me. For the last 20 years, I was in the chip business, and recently, a couple years ago, I moved over to IoT because we actually use chips, so it's a perfect place for me.
Well, why don't you describe your product and how you're funding the development of it?
Okay. Our product is the Petzila Treat Cam. Succinctly said, it's a remote treat cam. The device is the size of a Kleenex box, a small children's shoebox. It contains a webcam, a speaker, high-quality speaker, power supply, Wi-Fi, and a reservoir for pet treats, which makes this rather unique. It allows an owner to remotely see his pet, talk to his pet, take a picture of his pet, and most fun of all, launch a treat out at his pet. The company was started about 3 years ago. The initial funding was through friends and family. After that, we received funding from a couple of sources. One of the treat manufacturers made a strategic investment in us, and we did an Indiegogo campaign fundraiser.
Oh. And so are you fundraising at this time?
So since then, we've continued to raise money to fund the company through convertible debt. And we're in the middle of doing a Series A fundraising now that will convert all that convertible debt into stock in the company.
Nice. Well, can you describe to our viewers the process that you went through going from the idea, the initial concept, to the proof of concept, to the prototype, and then the minimally viable product?
Okay. So the two founders of the company, Simon and David, were actually neighbors, one above the other in apartments that had a private elevator. They each had pets. Simon had cats, and David had dogs. David had 25 years of consumer electronics experience, and Simon was a technologist coming from Marvell, where we met. He bought a chip company I was with. And so those two were sitting around one day thinking, you know, this whole internet is outstanding, but the pets have been left out of this. They coined the word pet tech, did brainstorming to figure out what they could do with pet tech, which is now an official category at Consumer Electronics Show starting this year. And they wanted to do a foundational product that you could build from, unlike a GPS collar or a Fitbit for dogs or a feeder. A treat cam that was Wi-Fi enabled seemed like a good platform to build the company on. The initial prototype was built out of a plastic enclosure from Fry's, used an Arduino PC and a motor with a little cogs on it. The treats just dropped down in the initial model, and later on the ability to launch the treats was added.
And now was this totally developed internally, or was there an external
So the first prototype was developed internally. Simon did some of the coding, but then we contracted with a local firm that did the electrical and mechanical design, and we contracted with a software firm headquartered in Austin, Texas, that actually has a cadre of 200 programmers in Costa Rica. So we actually near-shored the software. Costa Rica has a large population of technologists. They have several technical universities there, and it worked out very well for us. They developed the firmware for the device, the apps for the iPhone and Android. We always made sure we introduced and kept on par Android and iPhone introduced at the same time, and they did the software for the cloud as well as for our website too.
Now, a lot of companies are outsourcing parts of the technology, mostly because they don't have the experience. Now, what was the experience? How was your experience, and do you have any words of wisdom or best practices for when you're approaching external developers, whether it's on the hardware side or on the software side? So
my advice is keep the key IP development internally and outsource what's not key to the company. And we've done that. We had a key architect for the cloud software come in, because one of the things that was key is here is, as with any security type camera is to reduce and minimize the video delay from the camera to your phone. And so we constantly kept improving that, and that was one of our key IPs. Along with the treat launching mechanism itself, we had to go through 3 or 4 spins of the plastic. We have patents on that, and that is something that distinguishes us from our competitors.
Now, the mechanical design, was that external or internal?
And that was done as a combination. We put a lot of guidance into that, but it was also done somewhat externally. A firm in Scotts Valley we worked with.
Okay, no, and that makes a lot of sense. You want to keep the intellectual property in-house, but everything else that's not, then why not?
Right.
Now, let's talk about time. So how long did it take to get from this initial idea to the prototype?
So it took about 6 months to build the initial device, and then we modified that to come up with the treat launching mechanism, and went far enough to build a prototype that we could use in a video that we did for an Indiegogo campaign fundraiser. In early 2014. We had hoped to be able to ship those products in 6 months, but it actually took us 12 months.
To go from prototype to shipping products?
Yes.
Okay.
And so 2 days before Christmas in 2014, we shipped 700 units out to all the Indiegogo campaign donors.
Right.
And then we didn't ship any for 7 months. And that really was a very good thing we did, because those early adopters and donors are more tolerant than somebody who walks into Walmart or Target and buys a product. And so they worked with us, and they were enthusiastic supporters as we slightly tweaked the hardware, but more importantly, vastly improved the software, fixing bugs as well as adding, and we continue to add today, features to the software.
So that's good. So you got to the prototype, and at the prototype stage, you did the Indiegogo campaign. That provided a little bit of financing, I'm assuming, then to go from prototype into the minimally viable product. And then I didn't do the math, but that was 6 months. Did you say? I'm sorry. Or no? How long did it take from prototype to?
January 14 to July of 14, we had the first prototype. And then a couple months later, we had the MVP that we shipped for Indiegogo.
Only 2 months later,
And then that same product, I guess you'd call it 1.1 now, is the one that's in production that we introduced in August of last year, August of 2014, to the market on Amazon and in PetSmart.
And from the Indiegogo first shipment, where you started receiving all the great feedback, which is a great idea, to more tolerant customers, how long did that take? I think you said, was that another 6 months to go from that to
7 months.
Product?
7 months.
Okay, so and that's around the time. Now, was there anything that you did special? How did you keep in touch with your early customers? Was there a program that you built, or what's your advice there?
When you download the app, you create a username and password. You put your email in. So we constantly kept in touch with them, updating them monthly on the progress before we shipped to the Indiegogo donors. And then we also kept in touch with them afterwards as we continued to upgrade the firmware, the app, to keep them informed of the new features that are coming. And because it's an IoT device, we could keep track of the power users. We really valued the power users and took good care of them and kept in touch with them. Some of them we talked to on the phone as well.
Okay. Well, now, after you ship the minimally viable product to your initial investors, what did you discover in terms of knowledge gaps? I mean, was everything kind of as expected, or did you find in your particular case that there was some knowledge or something you needed to figure out?
Well, we discovered a lot. One was, the habits of how often people would use this, and what we really loved to discover was when they got the product, they'd use it like 10 times a day because it's a new gadget and they're showing it off to all their friends. Hey, I'm not going to show you a picture of my dog. I'm going to show you my dog. Some of our owners have trained their dogs to do tricks like sit before they get a treat from 500 miles away or halfway around the world. And we did discover that we do need to add a microphone to the device. Right now, the audio is one way to the dog.
Ah, good.
And that's one of the things Amazon Launchpad did for us recently. They put 4 buttons up there, and after they conferred with us, to poll the audience as to what features the next product should have in it. Social sharing, a microphone, different color skins, and so people are voting on that, and the microphone is number 1.
Well, why don't you talk about the distribution then? Obviously, your initial distribution was to your initial investors, but then what happened after that?
So after that, because we were partnered up with Big Heart Pet Brands that has a vast distribution network of pet treats, and they're the largest pet treat supplier in the U.S., they got us shelf space at PetSmart in 50 stores, so that was a good experience for us. We actually put a live interactive display in there because not only are we a new product, we're a new product category, and so we had to educate the consumer. So that was very good experience there, and going on Amazon with the video there was good. Since then, we've added Best Buy and Bed Bath & Beyond. We also took great care in designing the box so that on the outside of the box, it clearly explains what the product does.
Good.
So people, after looking at the box for a minute or two, they can understand that they can see their pet with this and throw a treat at their pet.
Now, how did you, I mean, you were a small company, you just did an Indiegogo. How did you get the distribution? One was a strategic investment with the PetSmart, but how about the other ones? Did you just go knocking on doors? Or?
So with Amazon, it was because we were an Amazon Web Services customer, they introduced us to the person who was starting the Amazon Launchpad program, which internally was called Boost, about a year ago.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, and it happened to launch just about the same time we launched the product, and it's been we couldn't be happier with Amazon and the support they've given us, and the ease it is to work with us, and we're a poster child for them for other Indiegogo and Kickstarter graduates to go to Amazon Launchpad. And then we had sales reps that got us into Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond. We're going on Home Shopping Network next month. And also through friends, we found out about a new showroom called Beta. B with the number 8, TA, that's in downtown Palo Alto. That's a showroom for new innovative products. It's like a sharper image kind of, but each product has an iPad next to it with a short video that explains the product, and you can actually buy the product right there. It shows what the price is on eBay or Amazon as well, and they have cameras and they take data there, and they actually charge the suppliers to be in the store every month, and they give you feedback on how well the product's being received and how many people are seeing it. They're opening a store in San Francisco next, and they're going to have a chain of 30 stores across the country. I predict that eventually Amazon might buy them as a showroom for their products.
Prediction here, everybody.
That's pure speculation on my part.
Why don't we talk about the business model? What's your current business model? Has it evolved, and where is it going?
Well, you know, our business model, I think, is going to be similar to what a lot of IoT consumer product companies will have to face. And that's, initially, we're a hardware company. We're making the money on the hardware. That's what gets us revenue and gets us in the door. But after that, we're going to, over the next couple of years, we're going to add revenue through accessories like a wireless weight pad, different color skins, maybe a feeder, product like that. Then in addition, as we get a lot more eyeballs on our website and enhance our website will be a resource for pet owners. Nice. So you can go there to like WebMD or Ancestry.com only for your pet. And so as we get lots of eyeballs on there, we'll be able to sell advertising. So we'll morph more into getting revenue with much higher margin through our social interaction as we go on.
Right. Well, John, where can people find out more about you and your company?
Okay. Well, I'm on LinkedIn, John Mein, M-E-I-N, with Petzila. To find out more about me, I'm happy to link up with you and correspond with you. And secondly, our website, Petzila.com, with one L, yes. Petzila. The people who own Godzilla.com didn't like us using 2 L's.
They could actually stop you from doing that?
Yes.
Really?
They did.
Just with lawyers? Or?
It happened before I joined, so
wow.
That's the lore I've heard.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.